Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I'm Shireen Bhan. Now we're going to start the show with a comparo, and this is going to be a tough one for Sirish because he's pitting the Volkswagen Passat against the Skoda Superb and the Honda Accord. Take a look.
Volkswagen never really gave the Passat much of a shot at success in India. Not that the car wasn't very good, in fact, we rated it higher than the competition when it was launched. But unfortunately for the car, it was thrust into the role of the guinea pig for VW to test the Indian waters, figure out their engine lineups, sort out their quality agenda, pricing structure and dealership network and everything in between.
And so you'd be really brave to count yourself amongst the 15 million Passat owners worldwide. But the VW of today is a very different beast to the VW of 2007. And the clearest indication of it is that this, the all-new Passat, despite improving in every single respect, still has the same sticker price as it did when it was launched in India all those years ago. But can it take on the Superb and the Accord? That's what we are here to find out.
For starters, the VW looks impressive. It borrows so heavily from the Phaeton luxury car, both from the front and rear, that you'd have a hard time making out one from the other. And that means the Passat looks posh, desirable, and with those LED daytime running lamps, extremely noticeable. Much more than the Accord, which has been around for a long time now, and though it has had a recent facelift, it's all limited to more chrome on the nose and tail. And then there's the Superb, the bestseller in this segment that has always looked a bit strange and quirky to me, but then again, the Indians seem to be in love with the Superb. So what do I know?
There wasn't much wrong with the previous generation Passat. So rather than completely revamping that old car, this 7th generation car is a heavily facelifted version of the outgoing version. The cabin layout, the architecture all looks and feels familiar. But what VW have done are detail improvements and refinements, and the cabin, it feels even more special. The quality goes up by a notch. Everything looks and feels so much more upmarket, more premium, more posh. And the equipment levels, they're just enormous. There's everything that you could possibly ask for, down to seat coolers, which I really love for India. Under the hood is the same 2-litre common rail diesel engine as in the Superb. But whereas the Superb makes 140 horsepower, this version makes 170 horsepower. And that makes a huge difference in performance. 0 to 100 time falls from 12 seconds in the Superb to almost 9 seconds, and that makes it really quick. And then of course it gets this superb twin-clutch DSG automatic transmission.
Then there's the Blue Motion suite of fuel-saving and emission-reducing technologies, which includes automatic start-stop that cuts out the engine when it is idling at traffic lights, and brake energy recuperation, which harnesses the kinetic energy lost during retardation and uses it to charge the battery. The gear ratios of the manual and DSG gearbox have been optimized with longer ratios on the top 2 gears for better efficiency.
The suspension also, it feels more tightened, it feels more planted. So when you're going around corners, it resists understeer far better. There's not that much steering feel, but you can grip hard and you have the confidence to push it hard around corners. But now, let me be clear on this front. None of these 3 cars in this test, none of them are what you would call driver's cars. They handle well, especially the Passat. It handles well, it grips well, but it's not an involving car. It doesn't really talk to you. For instance, at the same price, you can get a BMW 3 Series, and that is a far more involving drive. So of course, the 3 Series doesn't have the space and comfort that the Passat gives you.
The Passat then seems to be better value than even a 3 Series. But how will it stand up to its own sibling?
I'm not a big fan of the way the Superb looks from the outside, but from the inside, you really cannot have any complaints. Everything looks and feels brilliant. These slush molded plastics, they're everywhere and they feel great to touch. The inserts, these wood inserts, they're fake wood, but they look like real wood. But if there's one problem, that is the Passat. I've sat in the Superb after sitting in the Passat, and now the Superb feels slightly below the Passat in terms of quality, in terms of the whole feel of opulence, of elegance, of high quality plushness. The Superb was the first car in the VW group in India to get this 2-litre 4-cylinder common rail diesel engine, and it is a strong performer. It makes 141 horsepower and it gives it a 0 to 100 time of around 12 seconds, which is quick for a car of this size and class. The Superb is also based on the same Passat platform. It has been extended a bit to give it more wheelbase and more rear legroom, but it still has the same dynamic qualities. The ride quality is great, it is plush, it is compliant, but the handling is also well composed, it resists understeer well, it has a bit of body roll, but it's not too much, it is not unnerving, you can push it hard and fast. Overall, it's a very good car, both dynamically and on the ride quality front.
So both Europeans are formidable packages, but they compete with the car that's in India the longest and has a very strong fan following. Not to mention Honda's solid gold brand image in India.
The Accord used to be the benchmark in this segment for many generations, but now it looks and feels dated. Look at these interiors, for instance. Look at these forest of buttons in the center console. It's not that intuitive or easy to use. It doesn't feel very premium or high quality. These buttons, the quality of the buttons, the quality of these plastics, they don't feel really plush or expensive enough. And the problem is the Accord is not much cheaper than the Superb or the Passat. Also other things like equipment levels. Forget the fact that you don't have seat heaters or coolers, which even the Superb does not have. But here, you don't have steering wheel audio controls. You've got cruise control, but nobody uses cruise control in India. The screen is too small, it's not a full color screen, the information is too little, the fonts used are very dated, there's not even a full-fledged trip computer, there's no Bluetooth, and a car of this price absolutely must have Bluetooth. So in these equipment levels, in the terms of the way the car is put together, quality, there's no doubting. You cannot doubt a Honda's quality, but it doesn't feel rich or premium, it doesn't feel like you spend 20-25 lakhs of rupees on this car. All's not lost for the Honda though, because the Accord does one thing, and it does that one thing extremely well, and that is comfort. The low-speed ride quality is unmatched. All these small little ripples and bumps, it's completely soaked up, you just can't feel anything. The seats, they're soft, they're really comfortable, they're large, they're accommodating. Everything is geared towards comfort, and if you're looking for a car to be chauffeur-driven in the city, and you just want a comfortable car, this really is the best. The Accord gets only petrol engines, a 3-litre V6 and this, the 2.4-litre 4-cylinder petrol. Now like all Honda engines, this engine is great on performance, but its problem is that it is mated to a 5-speed automatic gearbox, and that gearbox sucks a lot of power out of the engine. So it has a 0 to 100 time of just 9.93 seconds, which is quick in isolation, but then you look at the Passat's time, and the Passat is actually quicker than the Honda. That means the Passat's diesel is quicker than the Honda's petrol. It's all too easy to write off the Accord, but I'm not going to do that because the Honda still does comfort extremely well. Unfortunately for it, the competition has caught up and it has moved the game on. And neither does the interior quality of the Accord nor its handling match up to the other two cars. Plus, the Accord doesn't have diesel engines, nor is it the cheapest in this test despite having the least equipment levels. In fact, if you're looking for a value for money proposition, the Superb makes the most sense, especially with the 1.8 TSI turbo petrol and the manual transmission at around 20 lakh rupees, a brilliant buy in this segment. But if you're looking for a diesel, if you're looking for a car that's posh, that's premium, that looks distinctive, the Passat, it strikes all the right bells.